Good afternoon, everyone. It is the 10th of October, 2019, and the alts have pulled back the last little bit here, and everyone is wondering, how bad is it? Have we seen something like this before? And I was going through to make up this episode thumbnail, and I came across this screenshot from August 19th, and my heading was, how bad is it? Look at the chart in the background. That's from August the 19th. And we're having the same thing here on October. So let's jump into the charts and see what the indicators are telling us about the alts and what might be in for us next. So first of all, this isn't trading advice. It's just market observation. We look at the same coins, we look at the same indicators, and we are doing pretty good in picking out when our calls are going. Let's jump into the episode here now. Let me take a look at the chat to say hello. Vasilis, good to have you along. Why horses instead of bears? Just because of the music, actually. I chose this background music and I wanted something to go with it, and horses came up. So there we go. Try to do a little background music, a little different image every day. Now, we're looking at the price of Bitcoin with the relative strength index here in the background. And I want to go through quickly what Bitcoin is doing and some of the patterns that I've been seeing building up here in the short-term relative strength index. You can see that as it downtrends and then breaks that downtrend, we have a breakout. Then it downtrends and it breaks out. Downtrends and it breaks out. Now, if I step back in time frame, because this episode is not actually about Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is doing such important things, I have to put Bitcoin in here first. When I look at how this is building up and start to step back in the different time frames now, let me go from 1 hour to 4 hour time frame. Look at how this is starting to step and stage. So that short time frame pull back and spring up has been building and building and building. And on the 4 hour time frame, we still have quite a bit of room to do another stage up. And we've seen this kind of build up in the past. The one thing that the initial episode talked about was the August, what was the date of that again? 19th. August the 19th. We had this move here in Bitcoin. And everybody was freaked out. How bad is it? This is when the alts pulled back pretty good. And even though Bitcoin didn't keep going up here on this August the 19th, Bitcoin dominance didn't act the same way. If I go back to August the 19th here, Bitcoin dominance continued going up and the alts got crushed even more after we had that reversal. So we're really paying attention now for this episode on what is Bitcoin dominance doing, and comparing that to the August 19th details of what happened with Bitcoin, because dominance fade back a little bit and Bitcoin didn't make new highs, but dominance rose. That means the altcoins went back against Bitcoin as Bitcoin sort of pulled back. So Bitcoin went up, the alts went down. Bitcoin went down, the alts went down. This is what this chart is telling us here. So let's zoom into the episode again, make sure I'm on the right, everything is going on. And now we're on to the next indicator. So we started off with RSI and I didn't finish it yet. So let me go to the RSI again on the 4 hour time frame, and I'm going to zoom out. And then zooming out on this, let's see what is the RSI doing here on the 12 hour time frame compared to our August the 19th details. So it's already kicking butt over August the 19th. It's already broken out higher than we did in August the 19th. And where the RSI relative to that date is really important. So let's see, the RSI broke and came back from that time. And our RSI seems like it is building and going to be going higher. So that would negate following along with what the pattern did there in Bitcoin. But what's going to go on with Bitcoin dominance as Bitcoin is going up? Let's zoom back a little bit more. I want to go quickly through this just to show that the daily is having this big pullback before the spring up, pull back before the spring up, pull back before the spring up. And this is a big pullback. If we are getting this spring up past these levels, this is no small little recovery, and my estimation of it coming up to 9,400 and fading off from there could be thrown right out the window. And as we see this mature and build over the next while, we really have to pay attention to the alts. Which is one of the reasons I'm starting off with another fresh look at Bitcoin compared to what we did already this morning. Because this morning we already were looking at how Bitcoin and the weekly RSI is bouncing off of these levels and giving us a nice sharp V here. We need the sharp V if we're going to continue on the uptrend. We just need it. If we go sideways here for a while, it's okay, but we can't break lower than this now. We are at the lowest of the lows here for our uptrend RSI. Oh, actually, for such a long time, I said we're going to have this long uptrend, and then I was anticipating that this was the uptrend break, but maybe we're just starting that uptrend, and the RSI is going to be continuing slowly on this uptrend for some time from here. This would definitely change my idea of Bitcoin coming back down to this level. Rather, it'll go sideways until we get there. Then we'll have the break. Let's see how this plays out. Now, I'm going too much on Bitcoin here, but I want to step back through Bitcoin here at the front run. What are we doing with the volume on this now? Pardon me. Let me zoom out into the 1 hour time frame to see that we had volume and volume. It's eased back a little bit, but still there. Zoom out to the 4 hour time frame, volume and even more volume. So this is gaining foothold. It's gaining credibility for me now as this picks up. As we go out to the 12 hour time frame, we see that there's some volume here, but not really doing so much compared to what we saw in the past. And if we go out to the 1 day time frame, then we see that we don't yet have a positive on balance volume. It's nothing compared to what we had already. And really, it's not even, doesn't match at all what we saw here before the big run up. We don't have anything deep really yet building up here. So, okay, there's some movement here, but it's not that deep yet. Let's start off with Bitcoin and work our way from the 15-minute time frame now on the MACD indicator crossing positive and giving us some juice off of this corner just as it did here. So that's pretty cool. Zoom out now. Should this cross positive as we're doing the wave on the way up, that's all positive, 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 good stuff. And we'll definitely see a move out higher from here. Moving back to the 12-hour time frame, as we watched in a couple episodes ago, that if this crossed to the positive, we were going up. Sure enough, we did. Took a good, nice 10 times long on that and took out some profit right now. Still have part of my position open. And we'll see what happens with this. Let's zoom out a little bit more because the 12-hour time frame is still looking good. That's not easing off and pulling back yet at all. On the 1 day time frame, we see this is flaring more positive. So there's everything I'm looking at here has got more and more juice. This is what I want to observe day by day, maybe twice a day like we're doing now. What is this specific candle, this specific histogram doing? This one right there. If it gets shorter through this week as the week progresses, and it's all like the week's already Thursday, but if it gets shorter as the week goes along, that's bullish. And if next week we see this getting shorter and shorter again, that's going to be really fostering a much bigger move up that we haven't seen yet in this run. Let's pull back now. And the purpose of this episode is to go through the other coins, but I'm prefacing it starting with a quick blast through Bitcoin here. On the 15-minute Ichimoku, we can see how this broke through the cloud. Is it break? Yeah, it looks like it's breaking through the cloud. And as it did, it made a 1, 2, 3 breakout. 1, 2, 3 breakout. What do we have here? 1, 2, 3 breakout. When that trend line is going, we have all of our indicators leaning against the door. This is going to pop. Now, stepping out to this longer time frame, we saw a couple days ago that this crossed to the positive, and then it's just hesitating. We got the blue line crossed under the red. So should that cross back above and our histogram start to go skinnier and higher, that's going to be a supporting and confirming the break above these levels that it seems we are leading towards. If we go to the 4-hour time frame, this is still positive. Nothing slowing us down. The 12-hour time frame has just started to twist to the positive here with the first indicators, that blue breaking above the red. But this is where I'm also watching for the sell signal in the downtrend. If it comes up into these levels, that's where I'm going to be looking for it to weaken and have all of our indicators start to lean the other direction. So let's see if the indicators give us a calf out notice here, or if we just charge right through that and start to build structure up above these levels. Those are the options right now. At this level, it's got to charge through it, or it's going to be coming back down. And then the alts, we can have this as our backdrop to see what the alts are actually doing. Daily Ichimoku cloud is still really negative. This has a lot of work to do to pull itself back up into a bullish stance. And for this, it's exactly what I was just talking about there. It's got to build structure above this cloud, above these levels. And it may take its time and build it up above this way. Now, let me clear this off, and I'm going to go back to the beginning, and what we're supposed to be focusing on here is ADA and the rest of them. And I want to zoom into the 12-hour time frame, just because these are not really, there's not a lot of decisions to make in this according to the trading system that we're practicing here. And if you don't know the trading system that we're practicing here, head over to the website intro-to-cryptos.ca and download the free chapter from the homepage of the website. No, not the free chapter. The free webinar. It's a whole hour webinar that teaches you the entire trading plan. Information about trading is free. It's out there. It's everywhere. There's no end to it. What you need is a method. Pardon me. Get interrupted there. What you need is a method that actually is going to transform the way you're approaching your trading, so that what you're doing here is going to make a difference rather than just add more knowledge that doesn't change your behavior. It doesn't make any difference, right? You want to find a way, a method that's going to transform your approach to trading. And so go over to the website, get that webinar, and grab that information so that when you're following along here, it's starting to make more clear sense to you what I'm talking about. And you get more out of this trading plan. The 1, 2, 3 bottom formation is what we're watching for it to set up. And it's not really changing directions until it gets up above these levels. Pardon me while I have a sip of coffee. I should put some background music on. All right, let's get back into it here. Greetings. Good to have you along from Poland, Philip. I appreciate you tuning in. So now the rest of the episode, I believe, is going to be pretty quick because we're going to say much the same thing we said yesterday, in that the alts are making their 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, but they're still within the 1, 2, 3. They still haven't broken above these levels to give us a place that shows the direction has changed from downtrend, away from sideways trend, into an uptrend. So this isn't giving it to us. And when I look at the 4-hour time frame, just to check in on one of our trading systems, we're still good on this. It hasn't given us a real entry signal yet, so we're waiting on this one still. If I go into Bitcoin ABC, and we just get rid of the indicator here for a second, I want to point out that the 4-hour exponential moving average has crossed to the negative, and this is one of our exit signals. When it crosses to the negative, we get out. There's a potential to get in when it crosses to the positive, so long as we have a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation that's broken out and proven itself. But A cross on the 4-hour exponential moving average on itself is usually noise, but a cross to the negative usually is a place to get out and pay attention to it. So the bottom formations always take longer to build than a top formation. Top formation breaks a lot faster. And so we use the 4-hour EMA to get out on, and we use the 12-hour EMA to get in on. Since this is crossed to the negative, it gets kicked out of the camp again. You know, we weren't watching it because it had broken down to new historical lows, but now that it's broken that EMA, it's even out further. Here in EOS, where I'm trying to get a good view of it, difficult, we see the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation shaping up, and the prices have pulled back as Bitcoin dominance has slipped back, or sorry, it's risen again here, Bitcoin dominance. And EOS prices have fallen back just at the same rate as Bitcoin dominance. But it's still, you know, it still hasn't finished making a formation for us to actually trade. We could trade any of these small things at the bottom, but they, as you see, they get you in and out, in and out, in and out. That's a hell of a lot of work, and we haven't really changed the direction yet. We're in this sideways downtrend. And so for my own part, this is where I get chewed up. I have to do less trading here. Let's go on to Ethereum, just on the same view. Its 4-hour exponential moving average hasn't crossed over yet. It's still holding into this channel, but the longer this goes, well, it's still holding its own. So that's it. You just hold the coin. You don't second guess it. It's holding its place. But is it a buy signal? No, it can't be a buy signal for the trading system we're using. It's got to consolidate again now to give us another signal. So if you didn't get into this, it's not time to get into it. Is it time to short it? It certainly could be. And let's see now in the next couple slides, because Ethereum's the only one I would short. Litecoin, it was short a bull here as we came out of this formation, but I was looking for looking for moves to come out of that. And even if it broke, I wouldn't be shorting it because this is at historical lows and it hasn't made very many gains that it kept like Ethereum did. So even though it's not a buy, it's not a sell, it's one of those gray markets, keep your hands out. And the 4-hour exponential moving average has crossed over as well. So again, hands off this market for now. Ethereum is the only one that's shaping up, could be something. Maybe TRX could be a short signal from here too, but pretty much missed it since we didn't jump on that right at the moment that Bitcoin broke out. So this could definitely come back further. Let's go take a look at Ethereum in a second now. It's the only one that's got my attention really for a signal, is that this could come back to the 50% level, and that would be awesome. If we didn't do anything in this before, as it comes back to these levels, that would be a really good place to be watching for something. But for now, it's all dependent on Bitcoin dominance. If Bitcoin dominance breaks above this green line, all of the alts are going to be breaking over their 4-hour exponential moving averages, and they're going to kick us out. We'll go into more of that here later in the episode when we take a look at the bull market watch spreadsheet. Okay, so that's Tron. Let's go to Ripple. Anything in Ripple? Oh, we changed screens and I didn't even realize it. It's so much the same as Tron. So let me give you the 50% exponential moving average. It may come back to these levels. Again, if it did, I'd be happy. That would be good. You know, really building this bottom formation to have that much more juice to it, that much more backing to it. And if it were to pull back like that, I'm still watching for the place that we could put our parallel channel on to start to know where this trend is. That got wrecked. All right, so we went through a few of these. I didn't get into the indicators too much, but let's go through a sweep of those now, just to do consistent details. So the indicators, again, I think it's going to be pretty quick to take a look at these. We have the divergence in the RSI. It is setting up, but again, it's got to break above this channel to really start changing direction. So if I go into ADA for the volume here on the 1 day, this is actually looking pretty good. That volume's looking pretty good. So even though it's got a sideways channel and it's got some work to do, there's been a lot of setup built up here already. So let's just quickly go through the volume here. Bitcoin Cash, pathetic. EOS, not much better. Ethereum, really looking pretty good. So ADA and Ethereum hold their own here. Litecoin, looking weak and limp. Tron is looking pretty good. So I don't want to sniff at this. I don't want to think that it's going to be actually pulling back to that full 50% level. And if it consolidates here and starts to show strength, this is continuing on the uptrend. This has got the backing and the juice behind it. Ripple, not as much. So Tron, Ethereum, and ADA have the best juice behind them. It seems that these are just the beginnings of the moves up. You look at the change of this momentum here going on. This is really important, especially those three markets. So let's go in and confirm those same three markets on that same time frame, which I already 12-hour time frame. So we're looking at the 12-hour time frame, trying to get a perspective now on where is the MACD compared to this bottom formation. Is it giving us crosses to the positive and crosses to the positive? No, this is actually giving us a cross to the negative, and I was not expecting to see that. So we'll have a little bit more sideways action. Since I see that, I got to go into the 4-hour time frame, and this we have to see it cross back to the positive first, then the 12-hour will cross back to the positive, but we got a bit of it here. The 1 hour is giving us some juice, but the 4-hour is a little bit weak. There, it needs some more time to build that up. Just as we were saying from the relative strength index here again. Okay, cross to the negative here on the 12-hour MACD. I'm glad I brought this up and looked at it. Very good. So this is kind of weak and flat, but at least it's pulling away a little bit. It hasn't crossed to the negative yet on the 12-hour. I suppose that should it cross to the negative, and it has on the right here on the 4-hour. All right, we're mapping it out here. This is something that the relative strength index said was a potential top formation. Now, as we zoom in on it, we see the 1, 2, 3 formation shaping up. So a break below that is a break below the 1, 2, 3. We have the uptrend line just about to break at the same time. We do have a divergence in the MACD on the short time frame. So all of those things put together makes me pay more attention to feathering in a small, or taking small profit, or feathering in a small short at that time, and being really skeptical of it, because if it doesn't prove me right and really drop sharply, I don't want to hold it. This is the turnaround of a much bigger uptrend. I'd rather maybe scale out and take a little bit of profit and wait for it to come back to these levels for me to get a better move into it. So even a move down like this, maybe if we saw super crazy levels, you might be able to scalp it. It just never works for me. And so even if I'm mapping this out and I'm pointing it out for my subconscious to absorb this short trade opportunity, it's not something I'm going to act on. It's something I'm just studying and really want to learn more about, and the flavor of it, the temper of it as it works and as it moves, so that I can get better at playing it. But for now, I filter this kind of stuff out and step back far enough from the market that those kind of moves, I don't participate. I try to step back from that. What are we looking at now? The 1 hour Ethereum MACD. I've got to go. I'm looking at MACDs now. And we got to go to the longer term time frame to get the questions answered. Here on Litecoin, also cross to the negative here. So we're seeing quite a few of them cross to the negative, which gives me more of a bent to pay attention to a top formation in Ethereum, because everything else is giving us the lead view. This is also crossing over to the negative. So I don't want to go short it. It's too few of Satoshi level really to play there. I'll just wait on it and try for another long entry on that. But they all are looking like they're weakening off here at this time frame. Here's another cross to the negative, And should we have paid attention to that as it crossed to the negative, there could have been a short opportunity there. So I really am more leaning towards watching for a short here in Ethereum, just because of all of these things adding up. The last indicator that I try to do every episode is to pay attention to the Ichimoku cloud. Now, at the beginning, I was looking to divorce the Ichimoku cloud. I was looking to replace it with a different indicator, and I was asking people, what indicator do you think I should be using? And as we went along from episode to episode, the Ichimoku cloud kicked my butt a few times, and now it's become a staple in the episodes. It's really, really done well. So here I'm looking at the 12-hour to see, has this pulled back significantly? It's like fighting sideways now in the 12-hour chart. I just want to take a look at all of them here quickly on the 12-hour chart, because I want to see if we have a crossover of this blue over the red. So far, both of these did not. If I go on to Ethereum, it does not have a cross to the negative of the blue over the red. If I go to Litecoin, it does not either. Even though it's getting closer and it's below this cloud, it doesn't have a crossover here of the blue over the red. And that's what I want to see on the 12-hour time frame. Nothing here, still looking good, holding its own. And in Ripple, also good, all the way along. Now let's go backwards and do it with the 4-hour time frame. This has crossed to the negative. So today is the 10th of October, it's crossed to the negative. Let's go to TRX, not. Litecoin, just crossing to the negative. That's 2 out of 3. Ethereum, not yet. So if this crosses to the negative, while all those other indicators, there's a short right there. There's 3. There's 4, there's 5 of the 7 that have crossed on the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud on this earliest indicator. Tomorrow we'll tune in. And let's see what manifested with the 12-hour and the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud. Let's see what actually ended up turning out with our MACD indicator here on the 12-hour time frame, because this is where the crossovers were happening that were so important. Let's see what our volume is doing, and our 3 big coins that actually had some juicy volume. Did they hold, or are they going to pull back a bit and reestablish? And then let's see tomorrow if our relative strength index pattern here is actually holding up, not just in these alts, but also in Bitcoin. Does this pullback usually mean that we have a bigger spring coming up? And if that's the case, we are in for it, because we've got a golden ticket setting up right now. As it's building up and coming out of these levels and consolidating, this could be the really big slingshot up that everyone's been talking about. It just needed some more time for it to mature. Okay, coffee break for a second. Let's start off with some requests now. Let's go and take a random walk around the cryptocurrency world and see what we find. Let's start off. I want to bring up Binance. No, I want to bring up Binance. And give me the markets. BTC, let's take a look at the biggest changers Matic is up 14%. Raven is up 12%. DGD is up some X% there. So let's go chase the markets and see what we can find. If we chase down to Matic, which has already moved, right? It's already done. This is news. This is not planning. So if we were planning, we'd be watching for this formation ahead of time and being ready for it. Now that maybe we've already missed this one and it's taken off and who knows if it'll come back or keep going, our job is not to chase it. Our job is to look for others that are doing this, that haven't taken off yet. This is the opportunity right here. Knowing this is the opportunity. Knowing this and then matching it together with these indicators so that we can be seeing that this RSI really didn't give me anything to point out here. Really wasn't a very helpful relative strength index here on what am I looking at? Even on the weekly view, there's just no history to look at it with. On the daily view, it was holding its own, but really fake out, fake out, fake out, fake out. This is one you had to invest a little bit in and just been in it because you knew the project. And it made a 1, 2, 3 and built up. So do we have any others that are doing this very same thing? Do we have any other markets that are doing this very same thing that from August the 4th, August the 5th, right, as Bitcoin did this run up here, the alts did their run down right at the very same time. So this is near, or what is it, August the 5th. Let's go see Bitcoin dominance for August the 5th. Look at that. Right here, really important spot. So do we have other coins that made the big crazy move here in August, early August, and then held their own bottom all the way along? If they haven't gone out yet, I would say that those ones are probably where the money should be put right now. Not chasing Matic, it's already gone. Now I would put Matic on my watch list, and if this comes back to give me a spot to catch back onto the train afterwards that matches any of these technical levels, I would be watching for that, for sure. So that's pretty good. Where is, what was the other one? Raven, RVN. OPQR. Have to know your alphabet when you're doing this stuff. RVN. All right, so this gave us a much more beautiful 1, 2, 3 bottom formation shape here. Built up, built up, built up, and off we went. Now, even though this is a beautiful setup in the pattern, and we can see it after the fact, if you were actually trading this, there's a lot of fear and panic going along with this. Look, it breaks out here. You say you get your buy signal. Now, should I get out? Should I stay in? Should I get out? Should I stay in? Looking good. Oh my God, looking good. It's dumping hard. Oh my, and then it takes off. So there's so many different places inside this view at that close time frame that I find I overguess it. I find I second guess myself. And if I take a smaller position and I step back like this, so I just have the smallest little position in here, then by the time it gets correct and I can get my stop loss up above my entry, I didn't really worry about it because it was such a small little bit of money for this range. And again, the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation usually comes back and has some retests of it. So you may not want to buy on the breakout, but you may want to come back and buy after strength after the retest. There's no easy way, but the smaller trades at the beginning make this a lot easier to stay in for these moves. Now the trick is how long to stay in, and to stay in for just the right amount of time. Let me go back to the chat here and see if they've got any specific requests. So let me go and check out. Hey Dean H, what's up, Crypto Warriors? Digibyte. Actually, Digibyte did some surprising chart pattern. I know that the Digibyte aficionados really believe in this coin and the technology and everything that it can do. And it really had some amazing runs in the past. Really amazing runs in the past. Insane. And I don't know if it's going to do this kind of insanity before, but it's kind of like having an insurance policy. It's been flooded on this beach before, and I could take an insurance policy that if it floods, I make $1 million. Okay. I might want to take a small insurance policy on that just in case it really does. The odds of it are, I would have to say, for all of these cryptocurrencies, the odds aren't very overall, they're not very good for this kind of big move to happen again. I expect it to be slower than this massive rush and take 12 to 18 months of waves and then waves and then waves again. So now as I look at this and we zoom in from the weekly view and start to look in it closer, wow, it's the kind of formation that I always look for. So it is the kind of formation that I always look for, is the long downtrend and then the bottom formation in any shape. And then my job is to get into a position in that, and then it's not my job anymore to know how much I'm going to make out of it. I don't know if it's going to go up this much, if it's going to go up that much, but I want to have a trading system that's going to leave me in the market until that potential plays itself out. So if we're looking at this and we see the one day exponential moving average is crossing over here, as we're getting out of this bottom formation, it crossed positive, but it did tell us when to get out and to say that this isn't a valid bottom formation. We are not going up for the 12 to 18 months here. We crossed over to the negative. So even though we have this great formation that I'm looking for, now that's all good. The next thing is to, if I'm going to cross the street, I'm going to look both ways. I'm going to make sure I'm not going to get hit by a car, which is like to buy into this and then it goes back down. And so I'm going to plan ahead for where I'm going to get out. Like a pilot, I'm going to plan for landing the plane before I take off. Now I see a good runway and a good takeoff position. I want to make sure I'm going to land this properly and not take any damage by flying here. So it has taken off. It has given us a buy signal on shorter time frames. We already had a buy signal out of the 1, 2, 3 bottom on the 4-hour bars. And we're just coming up to the, like I would say, the real buy signal, breaking above these levels. And even when it breaks out, we're going to be watching Bitcoin dominance to see if this is going to break back or not. And if I get in on the 12-hour exponential moving average crossover, I'm going to get out on the 4-hour crossover. So if this does top and pull back from here, I already know where I'm going to be getting out and why, when I'm getting in. And since it is really risky, I'm not going to put my whole position on right at the very beginning. I'm going to wait until prices really prove me correct and they build me a cushion up above. Then I'm going to put on the rest of my position like it's a real bull market and not just another one of these fake out breakouts. So all of that sort of has to be built into your mind before you even start putting on a position like this. And planning that stuff all out in the long term is going to make the big difference. Let's go on and check out TNT. Now, TNT, I must say, it got the better of me. We had a couple guys in our Discord chat pointing out TNT, and I agreed with them, and then it didn't match my trading system, so I didn't trade it, even though we've seen it do this action over and over and over in the past here. Let me go to the 12-hour time frame and pull this back so we can see it. It's done this so many times that it's come off of this exact level and run up to this exact level. It should have been a no-brainer to take a little position when it's back down to these levels when it's done that before. Now I wouldn't be touching it because it's done this so often up to these levels and then broken down. It's probably either going to stay in this range, or when it does break above this range, it's going to go 5 times in value. And everybody's going to go, holy shit, I never expected it. But because we have such an enormous bottom formation sitting here, we can take this, if there was a way for me to draw a and then stand this up, the same width here would be here. Crazy drawing. And no way to predict it. So it's not a trading system that I could actually trade now. But if I had taken a position back in this little low here, I would have a stop loss just above my entry, and I would be sitting on it. I'd be waiting for the potential for that long-term thing now. If it's been proving me right, I want to hold it. I don't want to, you could buy here and sell here. Sure, profit's done. I want to maybe only take part of my profit there to cover my entry. So now it's a free trade, and all of the rest of the money in that trade stays there for that long-term potential of going from, what is this, 800 Satoshi to 4,000 Satoshi. It's done it before. Crazy, crazy. I love it, but I wish I would have traded it. But when I go back and I look at the chart pattern, I try to filter this kind of trade out, because they are so erratic and so difficult. I'm trying to get the trend, not the blast off. So I do miss these ones over and over again, I've got to say. Let's go on and do BNB all the way down the alphabet here, way down. BNB. I said in the last episode, I don't really understand why this coin really took off and went big in the first place. I made some profit off it, not as much as I should have, but I don't get the business plan. I don't know why it's going up. But it has broken the downtrend line here. It is at historical support and resistance levels. So it's pulled back very nicely. If there is some juice in it, let's zoom out to the 12-hour time frame. It's still not a very beautiful 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. And my first thought is to let it mature some more. Let it, like, there's other markets that have built up better bottom formations, right? All the way from the beginning of August, they stayed in this bottom all the way along. They've matured so nicely. They've got such a wicked divergence in all of their indicators. This one for me is still in this downtrend, and it could be a wedge, like it could be this descending wedge pattern that is just breaking out because it's tightening up all the way along here. And it really would be a good breakout pattern. I would still make it work for me and build up above this. So it really show me that you're actually changing direction. And so this is another one that'll hold back until I see Bitcoin dominance giving up the ghost from these levels here. Bitcoin dominance has to break below these levels and fail. Then everything else is going to become magic. And I think that should this break down below these levels, all of the alts are going to take off much, much faster than they have earlier in all of these moves here. We have them easing up. We have them doing sideways channels. We're kind of getting a few breaking out higher. Oh, no, actually, we have AMB is up 81%. Link is up 58% from our entry, from our trading signals. VIB, IOTX. We got a lot of the early movers as they did their bottom formations and took off. We were there to catch them. And if you want to have access to these altcoin signals, there is a link in the description down below. Let's continue on, because these trading signals are based on the trading plan that I give you for free. You can go over to the homepage of the website and get that webinar for free. Don't miss out on it and get it later and think, oh, shit, what a difference that would have made for my trading. It's not just free information. Free information's everywhere, and it's worth what you pay for it. But it is the first step in being able to transform the way you are taking this information and putting it into a sequence. Have you ever walked up to a piano and said, how do I play this? I see all the keys. I know these are all keys. I see C, D, E, F, G. I see C sharp. No, there's no C. D sharp, you know. And I still can't play a tune on the piano, even though I see all the keys. And then there's somebody else who walks up and they're pushing the keys, maybe the same keys I pushed, but they're pushing them in a different sequence. They're pushing them in a specific sequence with a specific timing and a rest between each one of the keys that they push. That's what makes the melody. That's what transforms a piano trash into music that is astonishing and beautiful, can really and so go over to the website and sign up so that you're taking those first steps of taking this information and moving it beyond philosophy and beyond agreeing with it. And it does not enough just to know it. It has to become a habit for you. And the first part of the habit is repetition, getting in there. Okay, I got off track there on BNB, but that's okay. I get off of that track quite a bit. BTG, Bitcoin Gold. BTG. There it is. All right. It's coming down. It is kind of making the 1, 2, 3 formation. It is losing steam right there, but it's just not changing direction enough. And it's not a technology that's going to be changing the world. It's not one of those coins that is a distinctive, unique it's just, I don't want to play with it. It could go up, but I'm not going to play. No. There's so many other better chart patterns that have just built up. They're just so much more delicious that this is the kind of thing that should be filtered out. And let me go over to our October patron bull market watch spreadsheet. This is the cat's ass, I'll tell you. And we're opening up for more patron sponsors on the 28th of October, and there's limited spots at the $15 level. There will only be 6 spots when that opens on the 28th. And this is the cat's ass because it really filters out which coins you should be holding at which stage of the markets. So we can see here that, well, let's do Binance. We can see here that we had 8 markets that were in hold status on this date, 16, 26, but which 26? There are 26 of the front leading markets that we were able to put into our trading signals. And those are the ones that they're up so nicely now that our stops are just above our entry, and we can wait to see if these are actually going to take off on the real bull run. This is the kind of information that can really transform the success of your trading so that you are filtering out things that it could be, but really get to the front runners, skip all this crap and filter it out fast instead of you spending hours going through all these charts. We already do it. We already have a system that you could just start building the habits of by following along. I am biased, but it's done so well for me that I hope it helps out you too. So T. Torchin says, been gone for a few days. Have you gone full Bitcoin bull and altcoin bear now? I'm not full either way right now. I'm more full expecting the altcoins to really take off, and I want to stage into them as they unfold. But I also want to be ready to unstage if they are not unfolding properly. And part of it is because I reread the book I wrote for myself years ago, and I published it over on Amazon. So you can click on the website. You can go to introdocryptos.ca/Amazon. It'll take you to those books. One of the books I wrote in 2014 was the difference between fear and greed for good traders and bad traders. And of course, I had to write it because I was being a bad trader. I was being greedy at the beginning of a trade and putting on my full position. And then when it didn't prove me right, because it really wasn't a full breakout of the 1, 2, 3 bottom, it was a fake out breakout. Then I had my biggest losses, and it was hardest to close that position because it was a big loss. And then it gets to be a bigger loss, and then I'm a bag holder holding it as it goes down and down and down. Do you know that story? Have you heard that story before? Do you feel that? Have you felt that with me? So then I wrote this book for myself talking about how a good trader is fearful at the beginning of a trade and greedy later in the trade. The bad trader is greedy at the beginning, and then when the profit is actually here, then you start to get fearful that the market's going to take away your profit. And so you take your profit too soon. You know the story. You can finish it off for me because then the market takes off without you, and you've got your nice little 30% profit, and the market went up 400%, and you're going, all right, now there's got to be something in the way I'm trading that could have filtered out my panic, the fear and greed at the wrong times of a trade. So while we're looking at these trades and we're kind of, I really want to be fearful at the beginning of the trade now. And I might be just talking to myself, but that's okay because it's working for my trades. So as I put on a small trade here on the 12-hour EMA crossover, now I can watch for the 4-hour EMA crossover, and maybe I'll take off part of my position just because I'm being really skittish like a mosquito, right? I don't want to get slapped. So I'm going to take off as quick as possible if I see danger. And then maybe I'll be brave with part of it, and I'll wait till the 12-hour EMA crosses over, and I may incur a little bit of a loss, but then I'm there for that chance. I'm there for that opportunity. And if it turns out correct, I'm gonna lean on it. Then I'm gonna put the nitro on. We'll talk about the nitro when it comes up. I want nitro, and I don't want to use nitro on the corner either way. So I'm really teaching myself these lessons here. Let's go on to basic attention token we did. Now let's go XRP, and then I'll go into NEO. XRP. Ripple pulled back pretty good. But for me, this is all okay, right? If you had taken a small position off of any of this, if you were lucky enough to get in this 1, 2, 3, it was clear, it's there. Or if you had waited to get in here, you could still, it's getting more sketchy now. For my own stop losses, as soon as I get into this and I have a profit, I put my stop loss above it, and I'd be kicked out of this. And I'd be re-watching now for another chance to get in. So it depends on where you got in, what you're going to do with this now. But Ripple we did a little earlier, and we were looking at some of these indicators. If I go into Ripple, hey, here we are. And we're looking at the on-balance volume. It's not too bad. If I go into Ripple and I look at the MACD indicator, it has crossed to the negative here on the 12-hour time frame. We saw a slew of them crossing to the negative on the 12-hour time frame. So these might be top formations shaping up right here. XRP. The sound is too low. Oh, I hope the sound is better, because it's just a matter of if I'm close to the mic or not. Good to have you from Paris. Amazing. Akil. And we did XRP for MQ. Good that the sound is fine. Good to have you along, Dean H. I appreciate that you guys like this analysis. But for the most part, if it wasn't working for me, that it didn't fit in to help me with my own trading, I think how could it help you with yours? Anyway. BNB takes off because it's tied to success of big exchange. Yeah, but what does that mean? They offer financial discounts for people to swap into BNB. I know, but what does that mean? What service are they saying? Yeah, I'd say BNB is the best business case out of any token so far. Holders get discounts. Bag holders may become an affiliate. The platform coin, they keep adding new features. Okay. What is your Bitcoin holdings? I need screenshots. Yes, Dean H., you've felt that pain before, have you? Yeah, I think all of us have. That's why we're here studying so hard. There's success here. There's amazing opportunities here. Love the course so far, by the way. I'm glad you love it, Dean. There's so much more work I want to be doing on that course, and adding in the quizzes so that that really takes the information and it builds it into that transformational experience, because trading information is everywhere. You go to TradingView and there is so much free information. You could go and look for a live crypto video everywhere, and there's just unending amount of information. And many of them I watch, they don't have a structure. They don't have a plan that they are implementing day after day after day after. Trading to be successful is sort of like staying clean. You can't shower 7 times on Sunday and stay clean all week. You can't work really intensely on your trading. It's got to be consistent. Then things can manifest. Quizzes would be amazing. I signed up, but I've only started reading the Simple Trading Plan book, which you said was a prerequisite. Yes, read that book to start off with. There's a lot of reading to start off with. That first week of the course is a lot of homework. You got to sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and really dig into it, because we're preparing for an emergency situation. If you went to an industrial job, they take you aside and you go through safety training first before you walk out amongst all these massive machines that could kill you. It's the same thing with our trading course. Is I want you to be aware of the dangers before we start trading. And then you're going to pay more attention to not losing money, I think. And I had to learn all those lessons on my own, and I learned them in the wrong order. I learned about entries, and I learned about trading signals, and then I learned about risk control, like learning how to take off on a plane and flying, and then go, oh shit, I didn't practice how to land the plane. Of course, it didn't end well. Fortunately, with trading, it's okay. The thing I like so much about what you're teaching is the damn logical saves you getting into a losing trade. The logic has come from decades of relentlessly pursuing this dream of unlimited income. And I've achieved some amazing returns, some fucking amazing returns. And so I am super dedicated with it. And I am also very excited to have more people join up and benefit from this research that we're doing every single day. The more people we can join up here on our Patreon group, the more development we can do, the better service we can offer everybody so that this is as easy as possible. There's no limit to the amount of success that we can all have. If you do really well and you make $1 million, it doesn't limit how much I can make. So the more people that are involved, the more people I can help, the more people in our community, in our Discord chat, the more it helps me, because people, like the question I had this morning from one of our members, and I created a special video just to answer his question, and then I published it over on our Patreon group and in our alerts sponsored group. And it was, he asked me the question, I'd like to get into some trades. Here, I'll just drag this over. I'd like to get into some trades in the spreadsheet. There's a lot of coins. I'd like to get in coins with more liquidity, than more known to the public. I'd like to enter some trades soon to collect more profits. Which ones should I hold now out of the Binance coins? And so I created a video that shows him how exactly to use our spreadsheet, to export the data from our spreadsheet, how to put it into his own spreadsheet and to make notes on the trade, how to average out his investments to diversify, how to set up his risk limits for now, and all of that stuff that you can just log in and access. I think for me, it's the information that I always wanted to have when I was trading. And then I was able to put it into a website so that you can log in and access it. Anyway, I'm biased, but I think it's phenomenal. Amazing quid was be circle the correct 1, 2, 3, because you can see a 1, 2, 3 everywhere, and it seems like you're looking at a good one, but then it turns out to be a crap one. Well, I imagine that you're going to say, because I've experienced that very same thing where I've seen a beautiful 1, 2, 3 bottom formation set up. I get all prepared in it. Hey, thank you very kindly, GBU Wally. Hey, where is our... Buy yourself one BNB. Learn, earn, don't get burned from GBO Wally. Thank you for the $20 tip. I appreciate that. That goes directly to my yoga fund, you realize. All of the tips I earn from YouTube goes to pay for I go to yoga almost every single day, some days twice a day. It is phenomenal. And you know what? In 30 minutes, my next class starts, and it's one of my favorite yoga instructors. So I'm going to leave the stream here feeling good. I hope you guys are feeling good. And I really want you to grab a hold of all the free training. Grab it. Make some money out of this. Even if you're making pretend money and you're just practicing in a spreadsheet, do this for yourself. Make money work for you. Train your subconscious that you can do this. The legend. Professor Wally is legend. And he and I are talking more about putting all of this stuff that I'm doing into bot language so that it can be connected to a bot that we can talk to GBU Wally and have it set up so that we don't actually even have to follow this stuff. It just gets done for us. That's the power. That's where we're heading. Anyway, I've got to go. I appreciate you guys being here. Love it. Thank you again. I will sign off with our horses now to finish. Where are they?